What's going on, guys? This is Jaydee here, and this is episode 43 of the Wrestlebread podcast. So this week we have Super Showdown, aka Blood Money. I don't know which one this is. It's maybe up to 9 now. Everybody calls it Blood Money. And we also have the AEW Revolution pay-per-view coming this Saturday as well. We're about 2 weeks away from the Elimination Chamber. So far, only one match has been announced for that pay-per-view event. I don't know if I'm going to go to that pay-per-view event if all we have is just the one obvious women's Elimination Chamber that we all know Shayna Baszler is going to win. But let's get into everything that happened this week and a couple of news. And I'll give some predictions for Super Showdown as well. So coming out to Raw, we had Randy, the friend killer. I'm no longer calling him the legend killer, because now he's killing all his friends. Comes out, talks about Matt Hardy, what he did to him. Matt Hardy comes out with the neck brace, and then Randy Orton proceeds to kill him for the second time. Put his head on the set of steel stairs that's on the outside of the ring, and then takes a chair and smashes Matt's head against the steel steps. Randy Orton then says, I'm sorry, and he leaves out. We also get Eric Rowan versus Aleister Black, which really wasn't a bad match. Just a very odd match to just come out of nowhere. We also had the 24/7 title defended. Drew McIntyre versus MVP. Becky with a promo. I wasn't really a big fan of the promo. I felt as though it really didn't do much for the match. But then Shayna Baszler comes on the screen to cut her a bit of a promo. And she says the word shit. Cue AEW getting things started with the S word on live TV. Then we had a backstage segment with Lana and Bobby Lashley with Zelina Vega and Angel Garza, who Lana said were on a double date. We're the two hottest couples. And Zelina corrected her and said, no, we're the hottest couple of people. And I'm sitting here like, I'm really hoping that they're not trying to do a romantic angle between Zelina Vega and Angel Garza, because Angel Garza publicly proposed to his girlfriend on NXT, and everyone with a cell phone knows that Zelina Vega and Aleister Black are married. So I really hope that WWE wouldn't do kind of the same thing that they're doing with Lana and Bobby Lashley, where it is a very uncomfortable storyline with the whole I'm now with this guy who just proposed to his girlfriend on live TV, and it was all over YouTube. I don't know. I'm hoping they're not going down that way. We also had Natalya versus Kairi Sane, and Kairi Sane won by countout because Asuka got interfered in the match and knocked out Natty, so she couldn't get back into the ring. So it looks like there might be a feud between Natalya, probably Beth Phoenix, and the Kabuki Warriors. We also had Seth Rollins with his sermon, and I don't know, I kind of tuned out with that. I'm a fan of Seth Rollins as a heel, and he plays the heel gimmick very well, but I got straight up vibes of Vince McMahon versus God when I was watching that segment. I mean, Seth Rollins calling himself the Monday Night Messiah, then saying he was going to crucify people and everything. I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. I'm not the biggest religious person, but I don't think you should play with religion the way that WWE sometimes does it. I mean, I feel like they could have done something better with Seth Rollins and this whole Monday Night Messiah thing. We also had the OC, AJ Styles, cutting a promo about AJ's the best, AJ's number one, who is he going against? And looking at Raw right now, I'm recording this while Raw is on. It looks like Aleister Black is the guy. Alistair looks like he finally found someone who will pick a fight with him. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Oh, now comes Brock Lesnar. Then we had a match between Ricochet and Carl Anderson, which Ricochet won, of course. This week, Ricochet then went against Luke Gallows, so it looks like he's going slowly through the OC before he meets Brock Lesnar this week. And then we had the Viking Raiders and Kevin Owens versus Murphy and AOP. This ended in disqualification because Seth Rollins came into the ring. They all attacked the Viking Raiders and KO. And that's when Seth Rollins started talking about that, you crucified me and now you must be crucified. But before he can do anything, the Street Profits came out, helped out the Viking Raiders and KO, defeat Murphy and AOP, and Montez Ford with the Frog Splash from outer space. What a way to end Raw. And I'm telling you, it's very weird. Whew. I'm stumbling over my words because I feel like I'm in a different dimension, but it's very weird that Raw is suddenly now a lot better than SmackDown. Normally, SmackDown has been our darling little show that always puts on good shows, and it was always fun to crap on Raw and say Raw should be 2 hours, Raw sucks, this, that, and the third, and now Raw is putting out better content in their 3 hours than SmackDown is in their 2 hours. So going into NXT, between NXT and AEW, I have to say that AEW was a little bit better this week. The numbers showed it as well. We had 893,000 people who tuned into AEW and 794,000 people who tuned into NXT. Both numbers are higher this week than it was last week. So still well over 1.5 million people, possibly half of them probably the same person, but maybe half of the viewers probably watch both shows at the same time, I should say. But we at least had over 1 million people watching wrestling. So the winner is wrestling fans, of course. But I have to say AEW was a lot better than NXT. NXT, for some reason, they tend to do a lot of in-ring promos, which is fine. But with this episode, we had about 3 of them. We had Tommaso Ciampa, who cut a promo. And then we had a vignette of Finn Balor, that was a promo. Then we also had a little bit of Bruiserweights who cut a promo for their match. And then Keith Lee cut his promo as well. And then the Undisputed Era cut their promo. And Bianca cut a promo. It was just like everyone had something to say on NXT. And because of that, the flow of the matches, the flow of the show, to me, kind of felt off. We only had really 2, 3, 4 really good matches. We had Devlin, of course, versus Leo Rush that started off the show. We had Raul Mendetta versus Joaquin Wilde. Joaquin Wilde really, not versus Joaquin Wilde. His tag team partner was Joaquin Wilde. But he has a very weird entrance. I can't get over the eye headpiece that he has going against the Young Grizzled Vets. The Bruiserweights went against Larkin and Birch as well. And the tag team division of AEW really has been depleted, especially since we got the Street Profits, AOP, and the Viking Raiders up on Raw now. NXT is really lacking with their tag teams. So with the Broserweights, it really has helped, kind of lift up the tag team division a little bit, especially that we still have the Undisputed Era. But there has to be more to the tag team division besides the Broserweights and the Undisputed Era as well. Going on to AEW, we had the Tag Team Battle Royal. And I have to say I really like the way this Battle Royal went because it was each individual person versus whole tag teams. I remember in WWE, and I think it was one of the Saudi Arabia shows, where they had a Battle Royal of tag teams. And it was, if one tag team partner was eliminated, the other tag team partner was eliminated as well. Whereas though with AEW, each tag team member was an individual participant. So if one person was eliminated, the other tag team partner still had a chance to win the match, which is what happened with this match with the Young Bucks. We were down to one of the Young Bucks who survived in the Battle Royal to win it all. We should give a moment of silence for Sammy Guevara's face. He was coming off the top rope to attack, I think it was Matt Jackson. And Matt Jackson went to do a super kick. And Matt's boot smashed the front of Sammy Guevara's face. Like, there is no way there is no marks on Sammy Guevara's face. Now, I haven't been on social media to check up on how Sammy is doing. After that, we had Shanna versus Chris Statlander. The match kind of started off weird to me because we had that nose touch fight in the beginning of it, but it definitely picked up. So kudos to them for actually putting on somewhat of a good match. Nyla Rose was interviewed as well. One of my favorite lines she said is, "I break bitches." Chris Statlander came out to, I guess, challenge her for the title, and then Big Swole comes out. So now we're starting to line up contenders for Nyla Rose's championship. After that, we had Moxley versus Jeff Cobb. The Inner Circle went to interfere, and then we had the return of Darby Allin. So a lot of people popped for him. I like him. He was very different, I have to say. Then we had Hangman Page and Kenny Omega versus the Lucha Bros. Once again, I will say this every time the Lucha Bros appear on TV, is that Rey Fenix is not a human being. I've seen that they have released action figures now at the New York Toy Fair, and I saw that the Lucha Bros were there. I'm planning to get some of those action figures. I like the way that Kenny Omega looks, Chris Jericho looks, the Lucha Bros, the Young Bucks, of course, as well. And then ending AEW Dynamite was the steel cage match of Cody Rhodes versus Wardlow. And I'm glad that Wardlow isn't just a simple person who just stands there and looks cute, that he can actually wrestle. Cody Rhodes really putting on a great story of, perseverance and trying to overcome the man that is Wardlow. And I did like the way that the steel cage looked. I do like the fact that there is no escape, that it has to be pinfall or submission. Kind of very similar to stipulations of a Hell in a Cell match. A part of me didn't really like the whole escape the cage. I felt like sometimes if used, it has to be used properly, I should say. A lot of times that whole escape thing isn't used properly, and it leads to like cheap finishes, especially with WWE where you have the spear through the cage. I think that's happened twice, and that is what would end the match versus, continuing on and everything. Coming on to Friday Night Smackdown, we had the Usos who mentioned that they're ready to start a super kick party, which I was like, oh wow, we're making little subtle jabs, I guess, or little shout outs. I don't know how to really take it, but I thought that was interesting. And then, of course, we have the infamous let's all come out individually and cut mini promos before the next person comes out and cut a mini promo. And then the next person comes out and cut a mini promo. And then it goes to commercial. And then we come back from commercial and everyone's in the ring ready to fight. And that's what we really got from this. We had the Usos, and then New Day comes out, and then Miz and Morrison comes out, and then Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode comes out, and then it leads to a 8-man tag match. believe the Usos and New Day won it. I was kind of in and out with Friday Night SmackDown. Once I started getting that whole promo chain, I kind of tuned out from it. We have a little bit of the Otis fallout, kind of. We still don't have an explanation of what actually happened. But we do see Tucker come up to Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. And he mentioned the text that Otis got that Mandy was running late. And Mandy goes, "What text? What text?" So, don't know if that was Dolph Ziggler who sent the text, or maybe even Sonya Deville who sent the text, because they could be going through with this whole "I secretly like you" type of storyline. Sonya Deville mentioning that Dolph Ziggler is a Mandy Rose guy, and Mandy looking confused like, yeah, I guess. Then we also had later on in SmackDown, Mandy Rose standing by the door with her suitcase. Dolph Ziggler comes up to her, asks her, what are you waiting for? She mentions she needs a ride to the airport or something like that. And Dolph Ziggler's like, "Oh, I'll give you a ride." And Mandy goes, "Oh, okay." And then, to everyone's surprise, Otis is standing in the background listening to everything happening at that time. So it seems like we're leading to of course, a feud and match, maybe at WrestleMania, of Otis and Dolph Ziggler. Maybe Mandy Rose on a pole. No, that's not appropriate to say. But, Mandy Rose, maybe something to do with her, whether, her love is on the line or something like that. And then we get one of the highlights of the night, the Symphony of Destruction match with Cesaro Nakamura versus Elias and Braun Strowman. And I feel like, I don't know what was the purpose of this match. Now, I get it, when it's Christmas and when it's Thanksgiving, you want to have those special type of matches. But with these like Symphony of Destruction, it may have been fun for the wrestlers involved to wrestle with all the instruments around them, but I didn't get how this helps anyone. Of course, this may lead to the rumored match of Braun Strowman versus Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship. I didn't get what was the point of this match, how this match can elevate everyone as well. So then we have a moment of bliss. We have the Bellas who came out, and it was announced that the Bellas will be going into the Hall of Fame. And I don't have a problem with the Bellas going into the Hall of Fame. They are definitely Hall of Famers. They did a lot for women's wrestling, kind of getting eyes on the map with their appearance in Total Divas and Total Bellas. There are some WWE fans out there who came to WWE through those shows. And they did a lot, like I said, for the women's division. I know that, no, they're not like Chyna or like Victoria or Molly Holly, where they're strictly like wrestling, 24/7. But you can't deny what they did for the company. What I do have a problem with is how they were able to get in very quickly, where we still have other female wrestlers who deserve to be in the Hall of Fame a lot more than them. Of course, I'm talking about Chyna, Molly Holly, Kelly. There's a number of them. Victoria as well. I mean, there's a number of women who deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as well. Now, I get why they're doing it now. Total Bellas, I believe, is coming out with another season. We have the Bella twins who have their podcast and everything going. And plus, both of them are pregnant at the same time. So a lot of eyes are on them. A lot of people are paying attention to what the Bellas are doing nowadays. And WWE is probably trying to capitalize on their attention and getting them involved in the Hall of Fame. That will cause more people to tune in around WrestleMania time. And then we come to the end of SmackDown. I know I'm skipping some things that happened on SmackDown, but the end, Goldberg comes out, and I still do not know why he needs security to come out. Bro, you're not even coming to fight anyone. You're coming to cut a promo. And they don't even, and one thing I noticed, the security, the police officers, quote unquote, don't even walk him all the way to the ring. Wouldn't you want the security to protect you when you walk to the ring? I mean, it could be a disgruntled fan. I mean, we've seen it all the time. Someone hops the barricade and want to attack you or something like that. And you would have security for that. Well, I figured, you would want security for that. But Bill Goldberg, who hypes himself up as this undefeated person and, the who's next and this, that, and the third and his 2 moves of doom. And you need 8 people to walk you to the curtain. That entrance never makes sense to me. I mean, it's a great gif. It's a great meme to use whenever you talk about how you're going to show up at your mom's house on Thanksgiving. For a wrestler, I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense to me all the time. But Goldberg comes out, cuts a promo about The Fiend. Of course, the Firefly Funhouse episode comes out, and they go back and forth, and then Bray Wyatt mentions that there's someone who really wants to meet you. The lights still go down. And then Goldberg says, I know you're right behind me. And it was the Fiend behind him. And then Goldberg goes and spears the Fiend. And then Goldberg gets up, and then the lights go out because the Fiend goes and disappears and runs away. I'm like, please, for everything, let's try not to have this whole I'm Goldberg, I'm not afraid of anything type of thing. And I can only imagine the backlash that's going to happen if Goldberg wins this match and wins the Universal title. I can only imagine how many people will be very, very happy to have this happen. So going into a couple of things, a bit of news that happened this week. Vicky Guerrero has come out and spoken about backlash that she has received because she showed up on AEW Dark back in December. Since she has appeared on that episode back in December, she has a podcast that's coming out. She's been in talks to WWE to have some of their wrestlers come onto her podcast and for her to interview them. And since she has done this episode, WWE has not returned her calls, not returned her emails, and she spoke about it recently on her podcast. And a lot of people are very confused. The last time we seen Vicky Guerrero on WWE TV was 2 years ago at the Women's Royal Rumble. And it has happened to other people as well. Jay and Silent Bob, of course, they were supposed to be on WWE. They show up on AEW, and then that was the end of that. Vicky Guerrero is very upset, and I don't blame her. What do you expect her to do if you don't call her for any type of appearances or anything like that? I guess WWE expects her to twiddle her thumbs. I'm not quite sure if she's on a contract or not really a contract, but I guess like a Legends contract or something like that, where they can't appear or on anything else. I did hear that there are some contracts out there similar to that. But for them to not return her phone calls, it's like, come on, guys, let's not be so petty. But speaking about reactions, superstar Billy Graham has gone onto his Facebook account and he gave his opinion about the situation. And I'm going to read some of the things he says. And he says, and I quote, "This scumbag bastard Vince McMahon has blocked Vicky Guerrero from using any of his so-called quote-unquote superstars on her podcast because she went on an AEW Chris Jericho cruise ship tour. This man has to be the single most evil human being walking the face of the earth. To deny a woman's right to make a living when her husband gave his life for this unworthy pile of dung. He wouldn't let her have any of his talent to simply sit and talk on a podcast, while this coming Thursday, February 27th, he will be putting on a show in Saudi Arabia with his partner, the Saudi Crown Prince, who will be paying $50 million for this one-night show. What a two-faced, selfish bastard that will burn in hell. A lot of anger in that post, I have to say. But he's not that far off. The fact that you not letting her talk to any of the superstars because she appeared on AEW is kind of a bit petty. We all know, I mean, you can tell that Vicky Guerrero is just doing this for just, for wrestling. That she's not going around saying, hey, AEW is the greatest. I want to talk to your superstars to convince them to come over to AEW and for them to crap on WWE and talk good things about AEW. And I could have sworn that, there are other podcasts or, personalities out there that have interviewed AEW people and WWE people. I know that AEW has appeared on different news shows. Does that mean that WWE is not going to appear on those news shows as well? Sometimes they really don't make any type of sense. But I really hope that, Vicky Guerrero is successful with her podcast, that she'll eventually be able to talk to WWE superstars and really, make some money out there. Because I'm very, not proud, but, she's very inspiring, I should say. The fact that, she went through such a tragedy and out from it, she decided to really work hard and make a living and support her family. I really commend her for that. Also, Kathy Kelly mentioned the reason why she left WWE. Mainly is because she wants a life. She wants to live her life. It seems like from what she has said on an interview recently that she spent a lot of time on the road and it has taken her away from her Los Angeles home, which she had recently purchased. And she's looking to be an executive producer, maybe act, maybe write a book. But with her working at WWE, there was a lot of travel, and she really didn't have a lot of time to really figure out what she wants to do. So kudos to her. Good luck to her. I didn't expect for her schedule to be so heavily with the traveling, because I do know she is on NXT. She does a lot of the YouTube segments as well, but I didn't realize that she is doing that much traveling to where as though she feel like she can't do anything else. Maybe down the line she'll come back to wrestling, but I wish her nothing but success. So now coming on to this week, we have Super Showdown coming. No Tyson Fury. Did you see, first of all, that fight between Tyson Fury and Wilder? I haven't really watched boxing since Mike Tyson. And so I didn't know about Tyson Fury until he came over to WWE. But that fight, my goodness, that punch from Tyson Fury, Wilder was never the same. I understand him wanting to, go out as a warrior, but dude, you couldn't even defend yourself. You was basically playing defense ever since that punch. If you watch that match again, he's pretty much backing up every time. And those series of punches that Tyson Fury landed shortly before that towel came in, Wilder can barely defend himself. So I'm glad that the corner threw in the towel. Yeah, it's not the way that people didn't want it to end, but dude was bleeding from his ear, and that could really throw you off, which it did for him as well. We also had the XFL this weekend. I did watch some of it. The St. Louis Battlehawk fans are really passionate. I guess because tickets are cheap for football, that the college kids can come out and support it. But what happened in St. Louis is a whole different level. If you didn't see that game, go check it out and see how many of those fans are wearing blue. They got white towels. It was one fan that put like wings on his back. And it's just really crazy. I really didn't expect the fans to really like gravitate to this so hard. I was thinking about going to check out either the New York game or a DC game because the tickets for the lower level seats in MetLife Stadium was $30, which is insane. First of all, you would never catch me at an Eagles game, but I do know the nosebleeds at Lincoln Financial Field, I believe, start at $50. So for lower level seats, for, just to check out a football game, $30. You definitely can take out the family with it. You definitely check out a lot of games and kind of get your football fix in as well. So going back to Super Showdown, I'll give my predictions on these matches. Of course, they may add some more matches after this Raw, or even the day of. They may announce it. But let me go through them. It looks like we have Seth Rollins and Murphy going against the Street Profits for the Raw Tag Team Championship. I'm still going to go with Seth Rollins and Murphy. I really don't see a lot of title changes coming into this pay-per-view, but you really never know. You never know what's going to happen with this pay-per-view. It's whatever the Saudi prince want. I hope he doesn't get his way all the time, but it really feels like it is what he wants. Of course, Hulk Hogan is supposed to be appearing at this, possibly appearing at this event as well. We also have Bayley versus Naomi for the WWE Smackdown Women's Championship. I'm going to go with Bayley. I think this feud is going to continue between her and Naomi. I don't think they're going to give the title to Naomi this quick. But kudos to those two women for having a match at this stage in Saudi Arabia. So I'm hoping that, they'll get cheered like Lacey Evans and Natalya did as well. And that, it stayed respectable. There was the incident in Natalya, when Natalya was coming down the ramp, that someone threw a water bottle towards her. But I still hope that everything's respectable and that there's no mechanical issues as well. So after that, we have the gauntlet match for the Tuquay trophy, which, okay. We have AJ Styles versus Andrade versus Bobby Lashley versus Eric Rowan versus R-Truth versus Rusev. This really is a toss-up because, truthfully, let's be honest, this match and this trophy really does not mean much, but I'm going to go with Bobby Lashley because it seems like it's something that a heel would want. I don't think Lana's going to come out there, but I have a feeling like something is going to come up. Maybe even R-Truth, possibly, but I'm going to go with Bobby Lashley mainly for this one. Next up, we have The New Day versus The Miz for the WWE Smackdown Tag Team Championship. As much as I would like The Miz and Morrison to win, it's very possible that they would win. I'm going to go with The New Day on this one. I noticed that WWE likes to do a lot of the nice things when it comes to the New Day tends to win, I have to say, in Saudi Arabia as well. Next up, we have Roman Reigns versus King Corbin in a steel cage match. I'm going to go with Roman Reigns. Even though I feel like it can go with King Corbin to continue this fight, which I hope they don't continue with this fight, I'm going to go with Roman Reigns on this one. Next up, we have The Fiend Bray Wyatt versus Goldberg. It should be Bray Wyatt winning. I really hope that Goldberg doesn't win this match because it will be definitely a waste of a title reign. It is very possible that Goldberg will win this title just so that they can do something at WrestleMania. Of course, we've seen it happen time and time again with the part-timers getting a title shot out of nowhere and winning the title just for them to set up something for WrestleMania. Because I'm very confused at what Goldberg has done this past year, including that horrible match to get a title shot for the Universal Championship. Nothing, I would say. He did nothing. He could barely do a match. He was gassed after spearing The Fiend. So I really do not have any high hopes for this match. This may be me, not being really a Goldberg fan coming out, but I can't. I can't with this match. I really can't. Next up, lastly, for the WWE Championship, we have Brock Lesnar versus Ricochet. And I have a feeling that this may be the funeral of Ricochet, because Brock Lesnar loves to throw people around. And I know what people say, his weakness is the faster, shorter guys, but people forget Brock Lesnar will suplex the hell out of the smaller guys too. Like, nicely fold them in half. Now, maybe not. Brock Lesnar tends to play nice sometimes with people. When he had the fight with AJ Styles, it wasn't too crazy as well. But I really don't expect much from this match. Not really much from this match, but I don't expect a title change, I should say. Everyone's going with Brock Lesnar. That's exactly what's going to happen. Brock Lesnar is going to win this match. Now, of course, there are people who will not be showing up to this pay-per-view event. Of course, Sami Zayn, he can't show up. I believe Kevin Owens will not be showing up. Daniel Bryan, of course, John Cena as well. But John Cena is slated to come out for SmackDown this week. There were rumors of him going against Elias and Undertaker versus AJ Styles, and the Fiend versus Roman Reigns. But because those were leaked and the response that it got, of course, a lot of people not really feeling Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns, or Undertaker versus AJ Styles, or John Cena versus Elias. So it's rumored that they're kind of changing the plans for WrestleMania 36. Kudos to them. It seems like WrestleMania is kind of in pencil until pretty much the week of course. I'm very shocked that there isn't another Battle Royale for a trophy or the title. I forgot what it was. There was a trophy or a title on the line in Saudi Arabia, and they kind of threw everyone into it. But I'm pretty surprised that's not going on. Do I have high expectations for this pay-per-view event? No. Do I think this would be a good pay-per-view event? No. Will I feel like this is a glorified Raw or SmackDown? Yeah. I'm shocked that Mansoor isn't on this card, seeing as though he is from Saudi Arabia. Maybe they'll throw something together for the pre-show. I know sometimes they do that, so there may be some announcements coming on NXT or maybe even during Raw tonight. We still got about an hour left of Raw. Maybe even the day of, they'll announce something. You know how WWE kind of does. So, if Mansoor is in a match at any point, I am choosing him. And if they add any other matches that I didn't announce here, I will tweet out my predictions as well. Be sure to tune in on Friday. I'm going to try to get an episode out on Friday for the Super Showdown review and, of course, the preview of AEW Revolution, where we're going to get Cody Rhodes versus MJF, the long-awaited feud to come together, especially with everything that Cody Rhodes had to go through with the 10 lashes, the cage match as well, and that he couldn't touch MJF as well until AEW Revolution. And I feel like it would be a good pay-per-view. AEW has been pretty good with putting on some good events. Of course, the free ones where they weren't charging $50 weren't exactly mind-blowing, but whenever they charge the $50 and everything, normally they put on a good pay-per-view event as well. So that's it for the Wrestlebread podcast. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at Jaydee Talks. That's JAYDEE Talks. Be sure to follow the podcast at Wrestlebread. I'll be tweeting out during NXT and AEW. I'll be tweeting out Thursday night for Raw and SmackDown as well. I will be finally the reunion that has been for I don't even know how long. I will be back on the WrestlePort with Julian and Rob Bass. Be on the lookout for that podcast to come out. I think they'll actually be on Mixer Wednesday night. I have a work event to go to earlier in that day, so hopefully I will make it home in time to actually be on the podcast. So don't kill me if this is considered false advertising, but still check them out anyway. Julian's been doing awesome things with his interviews with The Walking Dead. He kind of teased that he did interview MJF. I believe that was at the Toy Fair. So I can't wait to see what he got coming out. So proud of him. So happy for him as well. Be sure to tweet me your predictions for the Super Showdown, aka Blood Money, whatever number this is as well. And until next time, guys, peace.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Check us out at Wrestlebread.com and subscribe to Wrestlebread on YouTube for more breaking news and Jaydee's opinions.